the way home. I'd really be ready to cut a nigga off over the smallest shit. Like, the littlest thing, I'd just be turned off, like, ugh.
The only thing that's gonna change my mind is camera surveillance. This is a very, very high-end villa, hotel. There's gotta be cameras around. I wanna see unedited video of this groundskeeper chemical insect sprayer spraying around at least 10 minutes before. I want to see him running into Ashlee. I want to see him going back to his office or taking out his pocket, handing her a phone charger. I want to see some sort of discussion of like, yeah, come back, blah, 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 blah.
Y'all have already seen the story about how Ashlee Jenae was found dead in a villa in Tanzania, while her boyfriend Joe McCann claimed that she took her own life. Her family was confident that it was impossible and wanted the FBI on it to give the case the attention it needs. And once the FBI got involved, they got intel hinting that Joe McCann might not be the only one involved in the crime. He had an accomplice in Tanzania, a local friend with enough connections to the villa and police to bury the case for good. So, it's no wonder why Joe really thought he could walk away from this like it's a regular Tuesday.
Okay, y'all, as of today, Ashlee Jenae Robinson's body has successfully returned back to the United States. The officials in Zanzibar are still investigating Ashlee's untimely death. However, nothing is written in stones. I also did see that her parents, obviously her mother, is not pleased as to what they were privy to as far as the autopsy that was done in Zanzibar. So now they are going to go ahead and do their independent autopsy on what really did happen to Ashlee Jenae.
Okay, so we've noticed so far that despite how explosive Ashlee Jenae's story is, most media outlets and bloggers in Tanzania have not talked about it. Hardly a word, but that's all because of the terrifying reality and people that this case threatens to expose. In public, the case seems to be standing still, but behind the scenes, some very troubling details are about to come out. Currently, Joe McCann, Ashlee Jenae's fiancé, is in a state that experts call legal limbo. His passport has been confiscated, stopping him from leaving Tanzania since he's now considered the main suspect. And he's also not free to leave despite his lawyers working overtime. The hotel and local police are also working overtime to stop CCTV footage and other video evidence from coming out. And on top of all that, news reporters and bloggers have been warned not to spread the Ashlee Jenae case since tourism is the country's biggest moneymaker, and the government is intent on protecting it. In fact, any reporter right now that steps out of line won't just get their license revoked, but would pay a hefty fine and could even disappear just like that. And when you think about it, is this something Joe knew was going to happen from the start? From whistleblowers, we know that Ashlee and Joe were at each other's throats from the moment they touched down at the Villa Zuri Zanzibar on April 4th. Ashlee reportedly wasn't aware that Joe came to Zanzibar frequently, and was very shocked to find out that he loved the women there. Someone said, "I was told that he's a familiar face in Tanzania. He has a lot of female SMMEX partners, and that is the reason why he and Ashlee were fighting from day one. The family needs to check and make sure that he did not take out a very expensive life insurance on Ashlee." And when you realize that this man was literally broke and struggling, everything, the quarreling with Ashlee down to the unexpected proposal and quick cover-up of her death, starts to make sense. See, Joe McCann runs or used to run a big crypto firm called Asymmetrical Financial that benefited off big crypto swings and made millions when it was making massive headway. However, when the crypto market took a nosedive in 2025, the fund basically crashed and lost over 80% of its value. It wasn't just Joe's money that got flushed down like paper, but millions from big investors who lost faith in his fund. In fact, one of those big investors publicly stated that he wasn't going to invest in such funds again after his portfolio shrank 80% under Joe's management. But like the finance and crypto bro that he is, Joe didn't want to expect that his fund was a complete failure. Instead, he saw it as an opportunity to reinvent himself and possibly get even more money. McCann announced a new plan to raise $1.5 billion for a new Salana treasury company, where he was going to be the CEO. Like, this man really wanted people to still shell out money for him after he just showed how bad he was at managing money. When the backlash came, Joe still tried to defend himself, framing the company's loss as a strategy to earn more. But with Joe moving like a rookie trader, no one was buying it. And here's where Ashlee comes in. With Mackin struggling to raise money and major investors looking down on him like a failure, a massive life insurance payout would be a new breath of life for his career and show off a major comeback. So according to whistleblowers, Joe had already taken out a policy on Ashlee. His plan was to propose in a big way, proving that they are in a loving relationship supported by all the content Ashlee had created about them. Then have a tragedy happen in a country where he can control the narrative and pay off any unfavorable stories. And y'all need to remember that despite all the attention she's getting now, most of us had probably never heard of Ashlee, and she was not a big influencer in Miami. So Joe really thought that committing this crime in Tanzania wouldn't attract much buzz, only for it to backfire on him. But honestly, the big issue here is that despite Joe being a frequent visitor in Tanzania, there is almost no way he could have done this and hoped to get away with it. Except he had someone there that could make it all go away. And word is that Joe did have a friend here who is also being questioned right now.
We just think it's very odd that our daughter is traveling with Joe and we don't hear anything from Joe. To me, that's very odd. And initial call that she got from Joe was 11 hours after something had transpired in the room. And that's very odd. 11 hours later,
11 hours.
Something had transpired, and Joe just relayed to Yolanda that Ashlee was okay and she was stable and she was okay and don't worry about it.
But that she was at the hospital.
Yes. 11 hours later.
In the official timeline released of what happened during her time in the villa, it was reported that after their massive fight, the staff decided to relocate Joe to another room 10 minutes away. They also said that while one of the hotel attendants was doing his evening rounds, visited Villa 25 where Ashlee was staying, she told him she needed a phone charger, which the attendant gave her, and he went to check on the other guests since Ashlee told him to come back in 10 minutes. And this is where the story starts to fall apart. They expect us to believe that Ashlee, who has been posting content from the luxury vacation this entire time, suddenly didn't have a charger or power bank. Remember when the two got separated? Joe was the one moved to a different room. So maybe he swiped her charger with the rest of his stuff or intentionally took it so that she wouldn't make calls. However, why would Ashlee want to charge her phone if she was going to commit that act? It literally makes zero sense. Plus, the attendant just so happened to be walking around with his charger. Hotel staff aren't just casually holding their charger while attending to guests. Anyways, let's continue. The staff said he went back to check on her 20 minutes later, and after getting no response, he used his key to enter. All the lights were turned off, and he walked in the direction of the wardrobe only to see Ashlee suspended from the wardrobe hanger rod using a bathrobe belt. At the time, she was still alive and rushed to the hospital where she passed. And this is another thing that doesn't make sense. So we are supposed to believe that in under 20 minutes, Ashlee tied and secured herself in a dark room. How did they expect that to make sense to anyone?
It is impossible that Ashlee passed away on the back of the door. That is one. But what is even more frightening, to the extent and the magnitude of the lies that are coming out on this story. Remember, I told you, Ashlee has no family or friend, boots on the ground over in Zanzibar. There was a 3-hour time frame of which we do not know where Joe was. Until we get CCTV, until we get the cameras to know where Joe was, which was a 10-minute walk away from the Villa 25, we will not know exactly when and where Joe was. Do you know that when the bus boy came and was giving Ashlee the charger, it occurred to me, who's to say that Joe wasn't in the back of the house? That while her back was turned, Joe had walked in. Who's to say that he did not make the agreement with the bus boy and said, show up, ask her for anything? Because again, there are lies that she was outside the villa. And then we have stories that he came to the door because he was going from villa to villa asking if you needed any assistance. He didn't come back till 20-30 minutes after. Was that on the behest of Joe's orders or not?
Joe McCann and his accomplice had already started shaping the narrative around what happened to her. And word is that they had already started paying off everyone from the staff to the authorities to stop the truth from coming out. The autopsy report officially says strangulation, but somehow failed to mention which kind. Was it from the rope or with someone's hands? It is these kinds of small omissions that blur the truth. And it doesn't help that the hotel is also reportedly pulling strings behind the scenes to stop any real story from coming out. Because in the hospitality industry, a story like this is enough to tank their business. Honestly, with the government stopping relevant news from coming out and the amount of money and people involved, it is difficult to know how Ashlee's story is going to turn out right now. And as the internet starts moving on to the next viral story, Joe McCann might just end up getting the cover-up that he wanted. This is a whole lot, but do you guys think this case is going to go anywhere? Or is it a stretch to expect justice for Ashlee? Sound off in the comments, and you best believe that we are going to be covering every part of this story. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button for more updates. See you later, baddies.